Guerilla Street Shakespeare, Chapter 2, Nobles and Courtiers. Let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee where thrift may follow fawning. Like an ass whose back with ingots bows, thou bearest thy heavy riches but a journey, and death unloads thee. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon 'em. Whether it like me or no, I am a courtier. Seest thou not the air of the court in these enfoldings? Hath not my gait in it the measure of the court? Receives not thy nose court odor from me? Reflect I not on thy baseness court contempt? Think'st thou for that I insinuate or toast from thee thy business, I am therefore no courtier? I am courtier cap a pay. O Majesty, when thou dost pinch thy bearer, thou dost sit like a rich armor worn in heat of day that scalds with safety. They are as sick that surfeit with too much as they that starve with nothing. They are but beggars that can count their worth. How dare thy joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence? Within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene, to monarch eyes, be feared and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass impregnable, and humored thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall, and farewell king. To be demanded of a sponge what replication should be made, a sponge that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape an apple in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponge, you will be dry again. He grows too proud in his authority, lifting his lofty head above the clouds. Unmannered dog, stand thou when I command. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he gulls his kibe. Nice customs curtsy to great kings. I swear 'tis better to be lowly born, and range with humble livers in content, than to be parked up in a glistering grief, and wear a golden sorrow. Nature that framed us of 4 elements, warring within our breasts for regiment, doth teach us all to have aspiring minds. Our souls, whose faculties can comprehend the wondrous architecture of the world, and measure every wandering planet's course, still climbing after knowledge infinite, and always moving as the restless spheres, wills us to wear ourselves and never rest until we reach the ripest fruit of all, that perfect bliss and soul felicity, the sweet fruition of an earthly crown. That is Christopher Marlowe from Tamburlaine the Great, Part 2. Oh, excuse me, Part 1. Puritans. I played a Puritan at Renaissance Fair at least 1 year. Yeah, I think it was just my first year. So I compiled this very early on, but it's actually more like things you would say to Puritans than Puritans would say themselves. Do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whilst, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and reeks not his own reed. The world is still deceived with ornament. In religion, what damned error but some sober brow will bless it and approve it with a text, hiding the grossness with fair ornament? There is no vice so simple but assumes some mark of virtue on his outward parts. Ye are meek and humble-mouthed, you sign your place and calling in full seeming, with meekness and humility, but your heart is crammed with arrogancy, spleen, and pride. You tender more your person's honor than your high profession spiritual. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself. Dost thou think because thou art virtuous there shall be no more cakes and ale? This next chapter is just a couple that I have about drunks. Much drunk may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on and takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him, makes him stand to and not stand to. They call drinking deep dying scarlet, and when you breathe in your watering they cry ahem and bid you play it off. This chapter is for players. The players are the abstract and brief chronicle of the time. After your death you would better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live. Why let the strucken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play, for some must watch while some must sleep, thus runs the world away. Would not this, sir, and a forest of feathers get me a fellowship and a cry of players? All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Here, stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently. Jesters do oft prove prophets. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. Here's one for old age. Several for old age. A good old man he will be talking, as they say, when the age is in, the wit is out. God help us, it is a world to see, and two men ride of a horse, one must ride behind. An honest soul of faith, sir, by my troth he is as ever broke bread. But God is to be worshipped, all men are not alike. Is it not strange that desire should so many years outlive performance? Saturn and Venus this year in conjunction, what says the almanac to that? How ill white hairs become a fool and a jester. The satirical rogue says that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams. Yet you yourself shall grow as old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backward. 'Tis the infirmity of age, yet he hath ever but slenderly known himself. My age is as a lusty winter, frosty but kindly. Now I've got a couple of pagan ones, more than two. or at least I interpret them as being pagan, even if Shakespeare may or may not have intended that. What shall he have that killed the deer? His leather skin and horns to wear. Then sing him home. Take thou no scorn to wear the horn. It was a crest ere thou wast born. Thy father's father wore it, and thy father bore it. The horn, the horn, the lusty horn is not a thing to laugh to scorn. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf of the ravined sea, salt shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, double, double toil and trouble, fire burn in cauldron bubble. Where shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain? What a hell of witchcraft lies in the small orb of one particular tear. Chapter 3 coming up. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.